Welcome to the After Dark podcast with Anthony James and Konrad. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode.
Hello, and welcome to the After Dark podcast. My name's Anthony, and that's Konrad.
Hello.
Well, Konrad, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm still in the vacuum left behind by the absence in my life of dark, but I'm filling it with any manner of things now.
Yeah, you exist there now. That's just your state of being. Yeah. And I've been the same for about 6 months now. We're filling it with our creative endeavors though, which is all we can do. Well, listeners, this week we are going to be doing Konrad's Theory Matrix. So, what a better way? What better way to end a journey than to hear Konrad's theories? And I'm really looking forward to finding out if Konrad gets a positive or a negative score. Do you know what you've got?
No, I haven't tallied the scores yet. So just to give our listeners a brief introduction to how this is going to work. So we've done 2 of these so far. So if you haven't checked those ones out, that's fine. You don't have to see those you don't need to have seen those for this one to make sense. As we left it at the end of season 2, when last we visited the Theory Matrix, which, as an aside, it struck me that I called this a Theory Matrix. It's not actually a matrix in any way, shape, or form. It's just a spreadsheet, but it was a cool word, so we're sticking with it.
No, it counts as a matrix because there's some numbers, next to each other, and we'll count it.
Okay, fine. That's good to know. But so when last we left it, I had a score from season 1 of -5. Mm-hmm. I had a score from season 2 of 6, which put me at +1 overall.
Yeah.
So that's where we're sitting as of today. Now, there are a handful of season 1 theories which were concluded in season 3. Same goes for season 2. So those scores are probably going to change. So we're going to go through season 1, season 2, and then finally into season 3, where we with the stuff that we haven't addressed yet.
Did you say that actually when we left that the last Theory Matrix, if someone is only watching the Theory Matrix episodes, and if this is your thing, you might have realized that in the actual last Theory Matrix video he was only +5, but we later calculated that it was actually +6.
Yeah, I think I made a mistake in that video. Look, it's not a perfect system. I don't claim to be a statistician, all right? The numbers merely work through me. That I don't claim to be great at this.
The numbers don't lie.
And anyway, it's irrelevant anyway because the numbers are about to change in the next 10 minutes. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm interested to see. I see here early on in your season 1 theories. I'm already looking at the Matrix. You spelled townhouse with an E on the end. I'm wondering have we got to the end you learned how to spell his name? That's
the spelling is going to be all over the shop in this because I write these down as I'm watching the episode. So a lot of them are abbreviated or use language that only makes sense to me. I'm hoping there's nothing in here that's too incriminating for me as a character. I don't believe I've written anything awful, but let's find out together.
Yeah, someone did ask, can we put them on the screen? And I'm happy to accommodate that. If it throws Connor under the bus, I'm sorry if it does. But
crucially, Anthony can't see these ahead of time, so we're not I'm still gonna ask him.
I've only got the feed of the actual theory. I can't see whether Konrad thinks he got it right or not because that's what we do. So Konrad says, "What do you think? Should I get it?" And I sort of say what I think, and then he tells me what he thinks. And then we have a discussion and decide. I do hold all the power here though. And that's the way these Theory Matrix have always been. If I say Konrad can have a point, he gets a point. If I say he can't have a point, he doesn't have a point. That's how it works.
Yeah, Anthony holds, like America and the United Nations, he holds power of veto, unfortunately. So got to keep him sweet.
I have been nice to you sometimes before.
You have, that's true. You've been a benevolent god thus far, but let's see how that holds up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Awesome. So, guys, subscribe on the Culture Cave YouTube channel. Subscribe to audio apps. Send us an email, adpodmail@gmail.com if you want to get in touch. Loads of people have got in touch. Thanks very much for doing so. Also, if you want to leave a comment underneath, questions for Konrad, questions for me, we'll always find time to answer questions somewhere, whether that's on a Dark Discussions episode or at the end of a After Dark podcast episode. We always have time every now and then. Right, guys. Also, just to remind you, next week we are starting the OA journey. We're calling it a journey now. It reminds me of in We Bought a Zoo, my favorite film. At the end when they open the zoo... Spoilers. When they open the zoo, it's called an adventure, right? The Dartmoor adventure or whatever. And they say, it's an adventure now. And he goes, It always was. So we're calling it a journey a lot now, but it always was.
Yeah, it's like it's like this started off as The Hobbit, and it's become Lord of the Rings. And we didn't necessarily plan on it being this sort of like epic journey, but that is definitely what it has become.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So we're starting a new one next week. Come with us on that journey, starting on Monday. Right, Konrad, you ready to get into the Matrix?
Yeah, let's do it.
There's no segue here. I haven't actually got one. Oh, we can do one live. Konrad's Theory Matrix.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. There we go. Okay, and we're
Perfect. All right, we're in.
See it straight into it. So season 1, I'm just gonna go through these because we've got a lot to get through, listeners. So strap yourselves in.
Okay, so and if you're watching it on the YouTube channel, you'll see grey ones and white ones. Grey ones have been concluded in the past. White ones have not.
Yeah, so the white ones are the ones that have yet to be scored, whereas the grey ones, I've left them in there for posterity, but we're not worried about them. But if you've never seen one of these before, congratulations, you get to see all of the shitty theories that I came up with. That we've
and if you want to see us talk about these theories, go back to the other 2 Theory Matrix episodes.
All Absolutely. Right. Okay, so season 1, here we go. This one was proposed in episode 1, and it was concluded in season 3, episode 8. This show is going to be about kids policing time. Okay,
so we have talked about this a little bit throughout the 3rd season. Kind of the ones who were the kids that you were talking about went on to send people through time to make sure certain things happen. We did mention quite heavily there was going to be a pair of gravity handcuffs.
Yeah, and we got so close to it in those caves with Bartos.
Yeah.
Very nearly arrested him.
I'm going to assume that you concluded this as false.
Yes, I said this was wrong.
Yeah. I think I would agree. I'm not going to give you orange for this. Orange is 0 points. Red is definitely -1, and green is a +1. I can't give you an orange for this, even though there maybe is a little bit of analytical truth to some of it.
Yeah. No, there's I've tried my best not, because the problem with a lot of these season 1 theories is that as the show went on, they became so, like, what the show was about became so much more abstract than what these theories were about, that the temptation was there to be like, oh, well, that's probably an orange with a lot of them, because it's not right or wrong. It's just, it's so far outside what the direction the show went in. I avoided the temptation of doing that, so I've been quite brutal, as we shall see. So, next one. It's a biggie.
Yeah.
Proposed in episode 3, concluded season 3, episode 8. So again, we went the whole way to the end of the show without really having a satisfying conclusion for this, and that is Regina will have a sword fight at some point.
Yeah. No. This has been a big joke we've had the whole way through. And we're gonna have to disappoint our viewers here, because the answer is no. It never happened. I'm sure she
did have fencing lessons. We know she had fencing lessons. So
true.
if we really want to extract that, at some point she was sword fighting in the whole chronology of Dark.
It's true. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that Jonas never went to the toilet. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But so I don't know. I'm going to be harsh and say it's a no. But I love this theory. This theory will stand the test of time. There's a reason why it's on the thumbnail of this video. It's great. It's just great. I'm looking forward to these theories for the OA. Come on, Konrad. Towards the end of this show, Dark, you started being very serious about your theories. And
I was cooking towards the end of this show. At the beginning, I was just like firing from the hip, like whatever. We'll have bug monsters and sword fights. And by the end, I was like, right, we need to knuckle down here. The finish line's in sight.
Exactly. So with the OA, I hope we get some of the crazy theories from the start again. Although I imagine at the end of the OA, there's going to be a lot of orange because it didn't actually finish. But okay, so Regina will have a sword fight.
Yep, I've given myself no for that as well. No argument there. I'd love to sit here and say that I think she did, or that I deserve orange for that, but realistically, it wasn't on the cards.
Let's be realistic.
Okay. This next one, I actually haven't got down for this next one when I proposed this. But I'm going to assume it was episode 3 as well, because it's right in the middle of the other episode 3 theories. And this was also concluded in season 3, episode 8, and that is someone will cast a spell.
Oh god. I put a spell on you.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking about that song. I thought about it, and I was like, I'm not going to sing it, but it makes filled in the blank.
Yeah, no, I'll always fill that blank in. But someone will cast a spell. Like, again, this is obviously a no, but that's the thing about spells. Like, they're not real. So how
any technology suitably advanced is indistinguishable from magic. Well, what is H.G. Tannhaus completely fucking up time, but a spell by another name? Frankly.
Yeah, it could be. That could be. We're going to go for
I
wrong.
gave myself no for this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go for wrong as well. Okay, so the next one is...
It might surprise some of our listeners to hear this, but most of the theories that were left over from season 1 ended up being wrong for some reason, almost as if they were so out there and ridiculous that like there was no way to conclude them until the end of the show. And in that vein, this one was also proposed in episode 3. It was a bad episode, that, for proposing ridiculous theories. And it was concluded in season 3, episode 8. And that is, there is some kind of satanic blood magic at work with 33 sheep sacrificed to send someone back 33 years.
Yeah, I don't even know how to unpack this in any way that it could be.
Okay, but what is up with the 33 sheep? Like, that was never explained why it was exactly 33 sheep that died.
I think that was just trying to build the lore of the 33 in the show.
Okay.
It was never going to be blood magic. Let's be honest.
No, I mean, yeah, I'll give you that. Like, the blood magic was a bit of a reach, although Egon didn't think so. So, you know, I'm in good company there.
I will say I've just finished watching the documentary series Night Stalker, which is a crime series just out on Netflix, and there's a Satanist in that. I don't know if he's actually a Satanist, but he likes to talk about Satan. And the whole time, I just kept thinking in my head and saying out loud, much to my wife's annoyance, Satanists, you know, being Egon.
Listen, someone's got to keep an eye out for them, and I'm glad Egon is our Dark Knight, our vigilant guardian who watches over us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get myself wrong for this one. Unfortunately, I didn't see any blood magic. The closest we got to blood magic was Ulrich listening to some heavy metal from the 80s.
Exactly.
Destructor, I think they were called. I can't remember the name of the band now. It's a good metal.
Creator,
that's it. It's the opposite of that, in fact. So, what a positive message.
Destructor.
Anyway,
Creator, yeah.
So we're on to episode 4 now. The last holdout, I believe, yes, from episode 4. This was also concluded in the final episode of season 3. Elizabeth and Yasin are evil masterminds.
Yeah, I think we can conclude that. Well, there's no conclusion on Yasin, but because the thing is, we all know Yasin is. But
Yasin 100% is. But I've conflated two theories.
You put two of them together. Elizabeth is very clearly not. So unfortunately, due to the rules of comic-objectivity, it cannot be true.
Yeah, I've undone myself by making too broad a theory there. If I'd have just said Yasin, I believe this was possibly the same episode where the Yasin is Alexander theory and it originally came from as well. So, you know,
could be.
That's stood the test of time as an obviously correct theory.
And actually, having you said that, I think, funny enough, as much as we went on about Yasin and Alexander, I think we actually, in the first ever Konrad's Theory Matrix, concluded that is incorrect.
Yeah, I think we'd already accepted that was wrong and just kept on hammering it home. Because, you know, listen, the big men in City Hall and the writers might not want to admit that Yasin is Alexander, but we all know the truth.
Yeah.
We all know the reality of what's going on here. Okay, now this one is a bit of a heartbreaker. Because in my heart of hearts, I actually do genuinely think I'm right about this. But unfortunately, the show got away from this, and we are where we are. So this was proposed in episode 5, ran all the way through to the end of the series, and that is Future Torch is some kind of UV light or shows things in a spectrum humans can't see.
Okay. But the torch was turned on in Jonas's room, and he's a teenage boy, and his sheets were completely clean.
That's true. That is a fair point. I should have seen the writing, or indeed the semen on the wall.
There was no semen on his wall.
There was none. But I mean, Jonas isn't the most sexually active boy or young man. Excuse me. To be honest.
Yeah.
So, okay. What do you think I should get for this?
Nothing. -1.
Well, so I gave myself an orange for this because I think. Like,
they did. So you're saying that they didn't show us whether the torch.
Like they gave us nothing on the future torch. They were just like, so I'm not really. I feel like I'm not deserving of losing a point for this because it's not wrong. They just didn't show us anything about it, so it's just up to us to decide what that torch is for.
Okay, I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to accept the 0 there, because as you say, you weren't to know. You weren't to know that they would literally just never explain why they have.
Just never mention it again. I don't know. Whatever. We just wanted a torch that goes. Like, that's what we wanted.
There definitely was some Foley art going on there that was implying it was a future torch and not just made. Even though all the technology already exists for it, we'll call it a future torch anyway.
Listen, Claudia needed something to do in between trying to get the black hole to work between 2020 and 2052, so she just got really into torch making, and that's what that's what we ended up with.
Yeah, exactly. She did a good job.
She did. I'm not complaining about the quality of the torch. Absolutely, I'd love to have one of those. To be honest, as we said at the time, I own several torches, but I'd happily have that one as well. I'd add it to the collection.
Yep.
Okay, so we got another one. Oh no, in fact, excuse me. This is from episode 6, and this ran all the way to the end of the series as well. Marta isn't Ulrich and Katarina's child, is possibly related to Noah.
You dirty dog. You absolute dirty dog. So basically, we have to give you an orange for this because you've included 2 things. One's very wrong, and one's very wrong, and one, because she is related to Noah.
Well, see, I gave myself red for this because I was like, I don't know if the related to Noah is enough to bring this back into orange, but I'm happy to take it if you think it should be an orange.
It's one of those, it's one of those weird ones. It depends what you meant. Did you mean isn't related to Ulrich and Katarina, or is possibly related to Noah, or did you mean? I think at this time, if I'm 100% honest with myself, thinking back, I think at this point I thought Noah might be her father, which is not a million miles away from the truth, but it's also not true. Okay, so true. We're probably going to have to give you -1 then, because the bold statement of Ulrich and Katarina not being her parents is just completely wrong.
Yeah.
If they were both grey, then maybe we would have given you an orange.
Fucking Ariadne monologues with her dad being the creator of the labyrinth and stuff. I guess that does work for Ulrich as well, but at the time I was like, Noah seems like he's more positioned to be the creator of the labyrinth, or metaphorically speaking, than Ulrich is.
Well, I've done a whole Dark Discussions episode on Ariadne symbolism and stuff, and I think that there is an argument to be made for the idea of Ulrich being the thingo, whatever you want to call it, and then like I actually saw Michael Konrad as the beast of time in that, but there's a few different interpretations of it which I went through in that video if you want to check it out. All right,
I will do. Okay, so on to the next one then. This is also in episode 6. This was concluded in episode 6 of season 3, so didn't run right through to the end. Bartosz will be recruited into Noah's cult.
Very interesting that you didn't conclude this until later on, and I remember. Should this not have been concluded whenever he had the machine in season 2?
So I think because I didn't fully see him as indoctrinated at that point. I think the reason I didn't was because I wanted to see if so we left it when he was let it run into season 2, and then obviously he is kind of doing stuff for Noah in season 2 as well. But I wanted to see who the guy who gets killed at the beginning of season 2 was, to see if he basically stayed in Sigmundus for his entire life.
Okay, so and Noah's cult at that point, you meant Sigmundus. It doesn't matter that Noah wasn't.
I didn't know what Sigmundus really was at that point.
Yeah,
but,
so that's a plus. That's a +1.
Yes,
you got that right. Well done.
Oh, nice.
That's very rare to pull a correct answer from. Now, I will say that I was joking with someone in the comments about your theory matrix, and like I was like referring to it like the American election, and saying. These crazy theories from season 1 are going to be like those mail-in ballots. They're going to
it's going to be a late push.
Yeah, they're going to make you lose some.
Yeah, they are.
Now already we've had about 4 or 5 -1s now, and you've got 1-1 so far.
Yeah, I'm really. Season 3 is going to be ride or die for me, I think. The scores and the remaining scores in season 1 and season 2 weren't kind to old Konrad. And speaking of which, proposed. This was what was I doing in episode 8 of season 1? So proposed in episode 8 of season 1, concluded in episode 7 of season 3. I don't know why that I chose that one. I think I just kind of accepted that this was not real. Agnes Nielsen is Marta. It was a banger. It was an absolute banger.
I love that theory. I honestly do, and I understand why you made it too. To be quite completely honest with you, no, she wasn't Marta.
Not in any way, shape, or form, unfortunately.
She shares some DNA with her. She is, in the same family as everyone pretty much is.
Yeah. I mean, if I could go back and tell myself one thing when writing these theories, I'd be like, make the theories a bit broader and just say related to, because you'll get a lot of points that way. Yeah. But alas, we didn't. The road not taken.
Yeah.
Likewise, episode 8 concluded. Season 3, episode 8. Well, there's some bad ones coming up with this, and Noah can restore people to life. This is when I was on my Philosopher's Stone kick.
Yeah, okay, right. Let's break this down a bit. Did he ever restore anyone's life, even in a metaphorical way?
It was the Helga thing. I know it was the Helga thing, but that was just wrong. But I mean, I'm trying to stretch it now for you. Oh no, I mean, okay. I mean, I appreciate that. I don't think there's any way that we can. I mean, he brought himself back to life by existing in 2 worlds. That's the closest I can get.
I'm sure someone in the comments could give us some crazy theory as to how Noah can restore someone's life. But we'll probably say -1. We'll probably say no.
We're going to take a brief detour for a second here, and the viewers can see. I'll read them out so the listeners can hear as well. But if you look at how bad this was during this stretch here, Helga has been duplicated by bringing his yada yada yada. So Helga's been duplicated. Noah can restore people to life. Noah brought Helga forward to the 80s after reviving him. There are 2 Helgas. And I was just reeling on.
There are 2 Helgas.
There are 2 Helgas. That's true. It wasn't really in the spirit of what that answer was. It was a bad run. A bad run towards this.
It was. We have to admit it was a bad run.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're on to. In fact, we're still on episode 8. So this one was concluded in episode 8 of season 3. There's been a nuclear war in the future, and that is where the Stranger and Claudia are from.
I find this one really difficult, if I'm honest with you, because there wasn't a nuclear war. However, the fact that you were on, even in episode 8, you were on to the idea that they come from some sort of post-nuclear world, post-apocalyptic world, and then let's be honest, it is kind of like a war-torn area.
Yeah.
The aftermath of a war-torn area, kind of. I'm assuming you gave yourself wrong on this, but I'll give you orange.
Yeah, I did give myself orange for this. Actually, I felt like, you know what, the spirit of that answer, I feel like is close enough to the truth that I'm happy to give myself a 0 for that and call it even.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Okay, that's very kind of you. And this one also from episode 8. I had a lot of theories in episode 8 actually. Agnes Nielsen, and this was concluded at the end of the season as well. Agnes Nielsen will seduce Egon's wife and steal their home.
Oh, naive Konrad. Putting extra things into theories again.
Yeah.
That is clearly a 0. That's an orange because only half of it's correct.
That bloody steal their home comment. That's why I left this so long, because I was like, come on, Agnes! I need you to go back to the 50s and get that house.
Just pick up the key. That's all the evidence I need.
He's off in a hotel with Hannah somewhere. He doesn't care. Just grab the key while he's not looking. But so that's a 0 for that one. Now, this next one, this is a biggie, and there might be some discussion about this one. We'll see.
I don't think there will be.
So, proposed in episode 8, concluded in episode 6 of season 3, Bartos will be killed by Jonas.
I have ever since you made this prediction, because obviously I had seen the whole show when you did. I always knew that I was going to give you this green.
Okay, nice, yeah, because technically he's not killed by Jonas. That was where I thought the contention might come up.
No, you made this prediction in episode 8. Of season 1. We're not talking about making this prediction when you saw who could be Bartos in the start of season 2. You made this from season 1.
Yeah, that is true.
so that was such a crazy out there theory that actually came through to a certain extent. That has to be a green.
Okay, lovely. I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, I thought the contention might be that obviously Noah is doing it on the command of Adam, but because Adam isn't the one swinging the pickaxe, it might be contentious. But I'm more than happy to have the points for that one. Lord knows I need them.
Is Charlie Manson in prison?
That's a good point. Yeah, you can be responsible for a murder without actually stabbing anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, this one here. All right, here we go. So, proposed in episode 8, concluded right at the end, season 3, episode 8, like many of these. Death allows you to exit the loop and be awoken in the center of the wormhole. This is why there are 2 Helgas, why the stranger has a scar on his neck, and we will meet Michael again as a result. I should get like -5 for this one.
It's definitely wrong. We did meet Michael again. Wasn't a result of Death exiting the loop. I mean, if you had just said death allows you to exit the loop, I'm sure we could give you an orange on that in some way, because we know that by the end of the show, by them all going and dying and like the universe not existing anymore, they were able to exit the loop, so to speak. But that would be really out there anyway.
That'd be generous. That
would be generous anyway. So with all of this extra stuff, it has to be wrong.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That one was so wrong that I can't. It's indefensible how wrong that was.
Yeah.
Okay. We're on to episode 9 now. So there's not too many more left of season 1. Proposed in episode 9, concluded all the way at the end of season 3. H.G. Tannhaus will travel in time.
This is hilarious to me because the character who ended up making the time machine, pressing the buttons, creating these 2 extra worlds, is one of the only main characters of the show who never time traveled or saw someone time travel.
Yeah, I spent the entire show being like, "Come on, Tanner, come on, HG, you've got to do it at some point." And he never leaves. He never leaves his correct time.
Yeah, it's so hilarious.
I mean, I suppose so I gave myself wrong for this, which I think you're hinting at as well.
No, he didn't travel through time.
I suppose you could make the argument that in turning on the initial machine, he's sort of traveling in time because he's displacing himself, but not really, not chronologically. So I was like, I'll give myself.
I mean, he kind of is traveling into the future second by second as this living.
We can't. I thought about trying to make that argument once or twice for this, but it robs the theory matrix of what little credibility it has if I start saying that just existing is a form of time travel.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
We're into a bad stretch here to see out season 1. I'm not going to lie to you. So this is also from episode 9, concluded right at the end of season 3. Noah has died and exited the loop himself. This loop business.
Yeah. Like back in these formative days of Konrad, with the idea of looping, and
it's the show's fault for talking about cycles. So this is what we've had some people say like that they maybe are worried that I'm not as into the show as you are because I don't talk about like cycles. This is the problem is when I start thinking about things in like logical like cycle terms, everything just goes out the window. I lose all sight of like what I'm good at, and I get lost in the weeds. I'm out of my element with these.
You start thinking about people dying to exit the minute. No, but the show definitely wanted us. The show was definitely playing on the ideas of loops and cycles because they wanted you to believe that you could change what you were doing. And
season 1 doesn't really have, like, lest we forget, season 1 doesn't really have a plot as such, or I guess like an overarching plot until basically the last episode. Like the last couple of episodes are really where it's like, okay, now we understand kind of what is happening. Which I think is why there are so many of these wild theories in season 1, and they kind of die out as the show goes on. Yeah,
and I remember it was either in episode 9 or 10 when we were like, we've got a plot, ladies and gentlemen. Like it was that long, or it might have been episode 8, whenever the first episode of the 50s, and you've got Tannhaus talking to Stranger, and Stranger says at the end, like, I'm going to destroy time, or whatever he says. I'm going to destroy I'm going to destroy the black the black hole, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, like hopefully by tomorrow it'll already be fixed or something.
And then it was like, we got a plot. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no bueno. Okay, this is a heartbreaker. The Tiedemans acquire. Oh, this is proposed in episode 9 as well. Concluded in episode 1 of season 3. The Tiedemans acquire the Doppler house and turn it into a hotel after Bernd is ruined by Claudia.
In actual fact, it seems that Claudia was ruined by Bernd.
Yeah. Good lord. Anthony James getting blue here on the After Dark.
I thought of that and I was too good of a joke to not say. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, so I've
moving swiftly on.
Yeah, you're not really sorry. That was a good joke. I liked it. Yeah, so what do you think I gave myself for this one?
Well, you had to give it wrong. Like we all know that. There's two things. One, either Regina bought it and turned it into a hotel because she's rich. The other option is that she got it from Bernd in his inheritance because maybe Bernd eventually, before he died, realized. Also, I think Bernd also maybe kind of had an inkling that Helga wasn't his, so he wasn't leaving him the fucking house.
Well, yeah, he's not to be trusted with any money as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah, so it's either that Regina's rich and they bought it, or it is that she got an inheritance. Those two are the only options, in my opinion.
Yep, no, that is fair enough. Okay, last one from season 1 then. This was proposed in episode 10 of season 1, and I concluded it in episode 5 of season 3. I can't honestly remember exactly why I did that. Maybe it will be revealed when we go through it. Jonas will go back to 1920 with a plan of murdering young Noah, but will decide against it.
Right, you concluded. Yeah, Oh, I know why you concluded in episode 5, season 3. Because that's the episode where Jonas got shot. You must be possibly. Like, well, he's not going back.
Yeah, I wonder if this was just like a kind of. This was the end result of seeing a lot of Stranger in the 20s stuff and being like, okay, well, he's there, and he's not killing young Noah. Like the scarred man that Noah was talking about seeing in his youth. Noah was well aware of who that was, and it wasn't. I thought in my head, I thought it was a case of like Jonas turning up one rainy night and like baby Noah being like, oh, who's this man? And then Jonas standing over the crib like Luke Skywalker over Kylo Ren.
Yeah, and then
lightsaber on.
Yeah, and then he goes to you cut him, and it just goes straight through him, and he's actually a projection. But this is wrong. Yeah, and you concluded
it is wrong.
There's no way you would have concluded it from episode 5, season 3, with it being correct. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about finally. We got it.
Right. I don't know if we'll reveal this to the listeners, but I'm seeing the total of season 1, and it isn't good.
No, so we've gone from. We were at -5. We're now at -16.
God,
that was a big hit. That was a big hit we took there.
That was -11. -11.
Yeah. So total score puts us at. Hold on. Why am I at -10? That doesn't. Oh yeah, because
-10. 6 plus -6.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So -10 overall. With that in mind, so. Count along at home.
Yeah. Let's see how many we can get. That means we for the rest of it we need to have +10. Otherwise.
Yeah, and we've got to steady the ship here in season 2. That's what I'm going into my season 2 theories, being like, you feel like you're like aquaplaning in a car, like you feel yourself losing the wheel, like hold a steady.
I think if you can not jump off a cliff in season 2, season 3 might save you.
Yeah, season 3, I've got a lot right in season 3, I think. So, but yeah, season 2 is the rubber's really meeting the road here to carry on the car metaphor. And what better place to start, actually, here with something that was proposed in the first episode of season 2 and was concluded in the 6th episode of season 3. The man killed in the first episode with a pickaxe by young Noah is Bartos.
That was a good theory. Good theory. Back of the net. That was correct. I think that's most people would have got that theory when they were watching the show. It looked exactly like him. Like
there was no way that wasn't Bartos. Let's be honest. Like the very idea that a show so well cast as Dark would hire that guy and to play someone who's not related to Bartos is laughable to me.
No, yeah, exactly. Like, can you imagine? Like, he's just like, imagine he was all
Just another guy.
He was Yasin. Doesn't look anything like him. Okay, awesome. Next one.
Okay, so also proposed in episode 1 and also concluded in episode 6 of season 3, either Claudia or someone working for Adam will actively ensure the apocalypse happens.
Right. I think this is wrong, and I think because the reason for it, why it's wrong, and you wouldn't have known this at this point, obviously, but I think that the apocalypse being made happen and being ensured to happen was actually Eva. Eva and her crew sent the letter to Clausen, which sent Clausen in to get Alexander, which led to the apocalypse.
Yeah. I gave myself wrong for this as well. I was thinking like when we got like sort of towards the end of season 2, I was like, oh, this is looking good. And then unfortunately we got into season 3 and I was like, oh god damn it, there's another world and these guys are
hang on a minute. We both said that in the future when that happened, because you know how like the two of them had to be turned on in the past and the future at the same time Clausen opened the barrel. Elizabeth turned it on in the future. Franziska turned it on in the past. I think this is correct.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to give it to me,
it wasn't solely Adam, because obviously without the Eva's influence in Clausen's storyline, but there was Elizabeth in the future who turned it on at the exact right time, and there was Franziska who turned it on as well in the past. I think you're correct. I'm going to say yes. I think you're correct.
All right. Oh, an act of. We talked. I joked about Anthony being a benevolent god, but here, like manna from heaven.
I think the listeners are going to agree with me on that. Because the way you've worded it is someone working for Adam. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely Franziska fits the bill, and also we have to admit that the apocalypse wouldn't have happened unless the God particle ball was active in the future and the past whenever the one in 2020 came out. So
yeah, which he was deliberately doing. You know, that was his instructions that
to Franziska.
That to occur.
Yeah, exactly. So
awesome. Okay, cool. I'll take a point for that. Okay, we're on to episode 2. This was a reach. I was quite confident in this one, to be honest, and then it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So proposed in episode 2, concluded in episode 7 of season 3. Ellie will have twin girls, one of which will stay with her in the future, the brunette girl, and who we later find out is Celia, and one of which will be taken back by Jonas to become Charlotte.
Yeah, well, that's just wrong. That was back in the days of you sort of you were theorizing that possibly Jonas and Elizabeth were going to have a relationship.
Yeah, I was back and forth, as we can probably see here, that I had two competing theories. That one was that Noah is Charlotte's father, and the other that was that Jonas was Charlotte's father. And I had to pick one, and I unfortunately plumped for Jonas. And
yeah, I made you pick one.
You did. You made me choose, and I appreciate that because we can't hedge our bets here on the After Dark podcast. We need to commit to something.
Yep, exactly. All right, okay. She didn't have twins. We all know that now.
No, she didn't have twins, and Jonas wasn't the father, and he didn't take them back. So it really couldn't be. I guess he did instruct someone to take them back.
Oh, that's true.
But but it's not enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to episode 3 now, and this wasn't concluded until episode 7 of season 3. Noah is Adam's son, and Agnes is his daughter.
That's an interesting theory because you sort of made that theory so early. I think a lot of people had that theory, including I threw that theory out there. Now I've always said with theories, like you're never really nailing your colors to the post. I think you do in a way, but whenever you don't actually have a theory on the line, theory matrix on the line, you sort of just put things out as ideas. And this is definitely a lot of people had this idea. Unfortunately, it turned out to be incorrect. If you had said they would be in the same family, you would have got it, but no.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like kind of like implied paternal bond between Adam and Noah, and not necessarily to say it's always a good bond, but there is that kind of relationship between them that I felt was reinforcing this, but as you say, turned out to be wrong.
Exactly.
Okay, and speaking of paternal bonds, also in episode 3, and this ran right through to the end. I don't know why I let this run right through to the end, to be honest, because it was clearly not true. But Helga is actually Noah's son.
Well, it should have been concluded in the episode where we saw the flaw of Eva's flaw. However, you didn't look at that properly. So, yep, okay.
Yep. But no, that was a Russian guy, by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Also in episode 3, also concluded right at the end of season 3 in episode 8. Force goes Claudia?
Yeah. No. We'll have to say no again. Even though, I don't know. It's funny. It's a funny idea. Like the idea of, like, Claudia did go to a different timeline to meet up with Adam. So, you know, you never know.
He's splitting oneself at the moment that the apocalypse happened, not Dark's version of a Force ghost in many ways. Like, her turning up at the end of episode 7 to speak to Adam is very much Obi-Wan telling Luke to use the Force as he's doing the Death Star. Right?
Yeah, it does feel like that. That's why I'm sort of laughing at it. It has to be wrong, though.
God damn it. Okay. Well, okay, yeah, so I had like 2 for older Claudia here. This one's a little bit more serious. So also from episode 3 and also concluded in episode 8 of season 3, older Claudia has put the pieces in place for middle Claudia to fix things.
Okay, so this theory has to be sort of looked at in context. This is back when you were also theorizing about the idea of the next generation being able to do different things. So
I also don't know if older Claudia was dead at this point. I can't remember exactly which episode she dies in season 3.
It's early on.
It might have been this episode.
Might have been episode 3. Yeah. So basically, this is a hard one because there's no such thing as older Claudia and middle Claudia, like they are the same Claudia. Having said that, we have a scene in the final episode where old Claudia, says to her younger self, Marta and Jonas are going to do this, and they're going to do that. So this is a correct theory.
Yes. I thought so as well.
Yeah,
I know what you mean though. Like it kind of the context of the context in which it was written changed so much from when this was put to paper to the end of the show. But it kind of went full circle and ended up becoming correct again by the end of the show.
Like, you know, so basically the way to put it now that we know the show would be older Claudia put things in place for her younger self to fix things. Yeah, and to be honest, I think that's what I meant at the time. I was just using middle Claudia and older Claudia as kind of shorthand for that. Oh, yeah, but also, like, you have to take things in context. Every person, when they were watching the show, had to believe that the characters could change it at some point. You know, they had to believe that. If you watch the show from the beginning being like, it's all predetermined, you know...
Yeah, it's like, why are you even watching a TV show?
At that point, if you're not willing to go along with the ride of maybe having something not be predetermined when you're watching a show, then I don't know what to tell you. But definitely, that's in context, and I think it's correct.
Okay, nice. I'll take that. Okay, this is going to be an interesting one, I think. So this was we're skipping ahead a bit now to episode 5, and this was concluded right at the end of season 3 as well. Adam might actually be right about the loophole and the way to fix this, i.e., by Jonas not existing.
Orange.
Yeah, that's what I gave myself to.
Yeah, it's really nebulous, and it's like it could be. You could write an essay arguing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's right or wrong, you could write an essay arguing it. And if you could write an essay arguing it, you got to give it an orange.
Yeah, I think that's a fair rule of thumb. So like, if academic papers could be written arguing this point, then it's probably an orange.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I think we've got a bit of a mixed bag coming up here now. So this was from episode 6, and this was concluded. I think this is one that I just let run right through to the end of season 3. Katerina's parents are in on the Sigmundus stuff.
Yeah, they're not. There are a few characters that some people who've seen the show and part of the fandom still will say in comments, I think that they did know. Like Enos is a good example. A lot of people, for some reason, just still think that Enos knew about Sigmundus, you know, because of Michael being a time traveler.
Where did she get the tree books from? Otherwise,
I know exactly.
It's clearly a gift from Adam.
Yeah. So, but Katarina's parents, if you argue that they knew, I think you're just completely wrong.
Herman Albers was just a wanker, like, as it turns out.
I wish he was just a wanker. That's all.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's not even the worst of it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be an interesting one. So this is also from episode 6, and this was concluded in season 3, episode 4. Marta had the baby somehow.
Now, let's put this in context too.
Yeah, the context of this has shifted. I'll be the first to admit it. All right. It wasn't the baby I thought that she was going to have.
No. There is no way you're getting this even orange. This is wrong. You've got it down as orange, don't you?
No, I've got it as fucking green. Like I give myself. She had Gary. It was like that's the dark matter coalescing over the womb definitely implied pregnancy, which is what this is. Which is what this turned out to be.
That's why I said I said at the time, and you go back and listen to the tapes, listeners. I was trying to push him in the right direction. I said, just put in the theory matrix that Marta had a baby. You know, but then you had to put in. Marta had the baby, and the context of it is the baby you're talking about was Prime Marta and Jonas's baby in the time between season in the time between when Michael Konrad killed himself and season 2. That did not happen, Konrad.
I feel like the context of this shifted.
No.
It was there was a relationship between Jonas and Marta, and they had a baby.
You didn't heed my warning. I said to you, Konrad, put down that Marta has a baby. Like, put that down. And you wrote down Marta had the baby.
That's outrageous. This is an outrageous. Anthony giveth and Anthony taketh away.
Okay. Well,
it's on. We're moving on. We're
putting it as -1. If you end up with a -1 score, we will let the comments decide.
All right, we'll let the people decide. The people's court.
Yeah.
Because I am an expert at playing to the gallery, so I'm I'll filibuster the hell out of this. Okay, so on to the next one then. We'll leave that unpleasantness behind us. Episode 6, concluded in episode 7 of season 3. Marta's baby will go back in time and become one of Katerina's parents. Don't know where I was going with that, to be honest.
I think... Is it harsh to say Gary would be a better father than Herman? Is that harsh?
I mean, it's a close run thing at the very least.
Yeah. Okay, that's wrong.
Yeah, that is wrong. I can't argue that. And this one's a heartbreaker as well. Also from episode 6 and concluded right at the end of season 3. Magnus and Francisca had a kid in the 20s.
Yeah, this is interesting actually because Magnus and Francisca were people who were theorized heavily to be Agnes and Noah's parents as well. And like it just made sense that they would have kids eventually. I think it's so cool that they didn't have kids because they're the only characters who realized, hang on a minute, we're related. We probably shouldn't have any kids. And I like that. I also like when shows just depict people not having kids because I know I'm a person who decided to have kids, but it's cool not to have kids. You don't have to have kids. So
not everyone has to have kids.
Yeah, I like that Magnus and Francisca didn't.
And who has the time when you're, traveling between multiple worlds and realities?
And also look what happened to the kids of the people around them. Like, look what happened to Bartos's kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're probably just like, spare them that. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to the next one. I've actually marked this down as a different to what it should be, I think, but we'll decide. So this is from episode 7, and this was concluded in episode 7 of season 3. Peter was brought to the 80s from the past.
You fell for the red herring. This was a huge red herring. The picture on the wall of Adam Singh, black and white picture. He randomly came to the 80s. I mean, he was he brought? Like, I suppose the boss brought him.
Yeah, I mean, and he was brought from the past. From the past. When he set off, it was earlier than when he got there.
Got to be orange. Yeah, it's a -1.
I don't know why I put this down as yes for some reason, and then like looking at it now, I'm like, don't think I can swing that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Not sure how I arrived at that conclusion. Okay, we're into a decent stretch here though, I think. So This is also from episode 7, and this was concluded in episode 4 of season 3. Hannah will seduce Egon successfully and may have a child. Okay,
so this is another one which I was trying to push you. I don't know if we did it on the air, but I was definitely in my mind trying to push you to making this into 2 theories. One that she'll seduce Egon, and the second one that they'll have a kid. Because I like the idea of like splitting those 2 out. But you're only at 1 point for it because you didn't do that.
I mean, we'll see. If it comes down to 1 point, you better believe I'm retroactively splitting that into 2 things.
You're gonna use an alternate reality to branch time during the apocalypse of that theory. Yeah.
I'll split it at the exact moment and then go back and change things slightly.
Yeah.
Okay, so also from episode 7, and this was concluded in episode 7 of season 3, old Claudia has access to a portal that lets you travel to any day she wishes.
And did you conclude that because she killed her old self and took the ball?
Yeah. When she actually, that was one that was wrong for a long time. I was like, oh shit, she doesn't have this yet, and then she shot herself, and that was part of the reason I was so happy when she shot her old self. Because I was like, yes, Claudia's got the ball.
Yeah, like that was a good one. Also, like eventually she does have access to the God particle machine in the future.
Yeah, that's
too.
true.
Yeah,
she does get the portal. Okay, we'll have a discussion about this one. So episode 7 concluded right at the end, season 3, episode 8. There is a way to travel between the time loops, and these are the cycles.
Right, okay. Right.
See what happens when Konrad tries to discuss science, as it just becomes nebulous and impossible to quantify.
Yeah. Am I feeling charitable, though? Because if we just get rid of the "and these are the cycles" thing, like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No.
But
this was the point in the show where I was like, what the fuck is a cycle? I'm trying to understand this. And then by season 3, I was like, you know what? I'm over it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a way to travel between the time loops. Now, we have discussed on the previous episode and in the Dark Discussions episode we did that the causal loops, sort of the cycle, exists within one timeline or one branch of a timeline. You are able to travel between those timelines. So therefore, saying between time loops doesn't work, but you can go from the one with the loop to a different one.
Yeah, that is true.
So, did you give yourself this orange?
I did give myself orange for this.
But this I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted to give this to you green. I'm so tempted, but I'm not going to.
Well, I mean, I
and
gave
these
myself
are the cycles.
Yeah, I was clutching at straws for this cycle talk. I was just like, what is? I don't understand all these people talking about the final cycle and all that.
It's because you were on the right of the show, and you were properly trying to guess: is it free will? Is it predetermined? Like that
is true.
Yeah, like that's why.
So I'm going to mention this next one. This was actually superseded by another one, but I'll mention it anyway, just for the sake of posterity. Mm-hmm. So Agnes is the dead woman in the lake, and I changed my mind on this one. So
and you put in there.
I put in that you said I didn't need to lose points if I got it wrong, just so we had it committed. But it was superseded by another theory, so I just gave myself 0 for this.
Yeah, you don't. I think I'll stick to my word there. You don't have.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to lose points because I really wanted. Like I pushed you to give a Lady in the Lake theory.
You did
because that was something that you just didn't. Like you didn't even.
Yeah,
really
I just ignored that entirely. I was like, I'm not going to pay any attention to that whatsoever.
Yeah,
and then you pointed me.
It's just because you don't listen to Bartos. You know,
that is true.
He was telling a ghost story. You were like, I can't be bothered listening to this boy.
Yeah, it's all just white noise to me when Bartos. Yeah. Okay, here we go. I reckon this is a decent stretch here. So we're into final episode of season 2 now. This was concluded in episode 6 of season 3. Alternate Marta wrote the letters to Clausen and Stranger, maybe others.
Nothing but net, that one.
Oh, yeah, swish. Absolutely swish. Okay, I stand by this one, but we'll see. We'll see. Episode 8, this was proposed as well, concluded in episode 7 of season 3. Young Noah and Ellie will go back in time together to either the 50s or the 20s.
I would have given you orange if you didn't say the word together.
Yeah, that is true. They don't, and also the spirit of this one was that the picture of Noah holding baby Charlotte did not look like a post-apocalyptic wasteland. So I was assuming they would have to raise that child in another timeline.
You were just basing that on their clothes, though, because there wasn't actually much else to go on.
No, it was literally just a wooded forest but it was like snowing, and I don't know, post-apocalyptic wasteland. You are right that you have to carry on living your life, I guess. But the vibe I got from the picture did not make me think of armed militias going past in like APCs.
Yeah, well, that's what they were going for too, because they didn't want you to look at the picture and straight away know that it was in the post. You know, that they didn't want you. They wanted you to question where that was. You know.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the home stretch for season 2 now. These are all from episode 8, so we're going to run through these quick as you like. First one, this was concluded in episode 2 of season 3. Charlotte travelled through time when she touched that there portal.
Green. Correct.
Gosh. Lovely. Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she travel through time when she touched it? Everyone else does.
Yep.
Okay.
No. Apart from Elizabeth, apparently.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Actually, Elizabeth didn't. That's weird. But well, I've not thought about that.
But there was no rule to where they went anyway, so we'll just...
No, I mean, Jonas ended up in bloody 2052 when he did it.
Oh, actually, you know what I like to think? I like to think she actually did, and then like someone with a golden ball or someone from the past just like sent her back. Sent her back, you know.
Yeah, like when like your parents, when you stay too late. Yeah, you stay too late at your friend's house, and one of their parents needs to drop you back off at home. Yeah. Drive her back. Yeah. Okay, right. So this was concluded in episode 1 of season 3. In alternate Marta's timeline, she is the Jonas.
Yeah, another great one, and I can't remember why you predicted that.
I think it's just because she was the one who was time traveling. I think it was because she had a proactive role in traveling about that it seemed like she was the Jonas equivalent, and also just like that symmetry, of Jonas and Marta. I expected there to be some kind of Adam and Eve symmetry between them.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up at that. I believe.
Okay. Now the question is, on this next one, am I going to be very pedantic to you?
Okay. Well, let's have a look. So this was concluded in episode 6 of season 3. Alternate Marta never turned up for Adam when his Marta was killed, and I know you're going to be pedantic about the his Marta bit because they're all the same Marta. We all know that.
At that point, when the Marta was killed, the timeline hadn't split yet, so it was just one Marta. Having said that, it's got to be correct. That was good.
Yes, nice. We'll see about this one actually, because I'll read it first. So this was concluded in episode 7 of season 3. Claudia's weird golden compass thing from the autopsy scene came from the same reality as alternate Marta's golden snitch.
Okay, this has to be an orange.
You think orange for that? Because I gave myself this because I was like, that's pretty conclusively looks like it is made of the same stuff that the ball is made of.
And Yasin pretty conclusively looks like Alexander too.
Well, no, but yeah, that is true. But like one of them is there's evidence to support one of those theories.
What's the evidence? They're both gold. Like what do you mean? Like you can't just say they look like it.
Well, she just carries around weird, arcane, golden things that aren't related to the stuff she got from her alt self.
Well, I don't know where she got it.
All right. I'll accept it.
I think if we're going to go with the Konrad's head canon thing, I can get on with the logic. I can understand the logic there. Is there enough to conclude? Is there though? Let's be honest here, Konrad.
No, but I think if you were to look at that and you'd be like, okay, the production design of that is obviously meant to evoke the stuff that we see later. That would be my argument.
I know that's why, and you know what? That's why I'm giving you orange, because it was never confirmed. All right, but it's the same as the torch.
It should be right.
It's the exact same as the torch.
This is daylight robbery, is what this is.
It's the exact same as the future. It's the exact same as the future torch, Konrad. I swear to God.
You're going into like a New York street rat from like the 20s voice.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go on to the next one then. So I've given myself 0 for that. So this was concluded in episode 1 of season 3. So this was resolved fairly quickly. Franziska, Bartos, Magnus, and Stranger are going back to the 1880s.
Correct. Well done.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, and this was next one was concluded in episode 3 of season 3. Alt Marta has become Eve in her timeline. I didn't say Eva.
Yeah, it's correct though. I think what we've learned from our commenters that in most countries it is Eva. It seems.
Okay, yeah.
Which is really interesting to me because like I've got friends from other countries in Europe, even a friend from Germany. And, like, you would have thought over the years of talking to them, eventually they would have said Eva instead of Eve.
Yeah.
But I've never heard... Before this show, I had never heard of that.
No, I hadn't either, to be honest. Like, it's probably just one of those things where the language separation of being from, like, an English-speaking country is more pronounced than we think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and the last one here for season 2. It was a bit of a shot from the hip. And it was concluded right at the end of the show because I was holding out hope for it. We will see 2085 in the next season.
It was to be honest with you, it was an honest attempt.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you had known that we were going to see more than one timeline in the alt world, you wouldn't have predicted that. But it was expanding out from the ones we've already seen. Every season you thought was going to expand out. It makes sense. It's obviously wrong, but it makes sense.
Yeah, clearly wrong.
Although I will, no, it is wrong.
So that puts us at season 2 at an even 6. So the score did not move at all.
Yeah, interesting. So that means we're still on what, -10?
Yeah, it leaves us at -10. So season 3 needs to be pretty damn good
We've only just got to the season 3 theories.
Yeah, we're on season 3 now. I told, listen, listener, if you want to take a break, you have my permission. Go grab a coffee, stretch your legs, because season 3 is going to take a while. I will try not to labour the point as I'm doing right now, but
you know what I might do, Konrad. I might put a little plug to our end of Dark T-shirt right about now. Do you want a sweet memento to remind you of all those good times you've had listening to the After Dark podcast? Well, how about pick up a T-shirt with the brand new design by my wife Ema. It depicts Konrad and I going into the cave. What will we get up to next? Link in the description.
Okay, season 3. Here we go. Welcome back, first and foremost, from that exciting advertisement.
Yeah, thank you very much to the couple of people who've already bought that T-shirt.
Yes.
It's going to help us a little bit. Again, we don't really get much stuff from it, but it's a great little memento for you guys for coming on this wonderful journey with us.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, this is it. This is the final run-in to the end of the show. So let's see how I did. Episode 1 of Season 3. This was concluded in Episode 6. The 3 individuals with a scar are a sick Mundus cleanup crew, purging anything useful from their past so that others can't use it.
I'm going to give you correct on this.
Oh, you're going to give me correct?
I am.
Oh, that's very... I just said completely wrong, because obviously they're not sick Mundus.
Yeah, but I think that's semantics. They kind of, if you look at the worlds as parallel, they kind of are.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll take it. If you're happy to give it to me, I'm happy to have it. I'm not going to argue with you about that.
Let me see. They're a cleanup crew purging anything useful from their past so that the others can't use it. This is one of those ones where if we were at the very end of the theory matrix, I would be evaluating this differently. I know. I don't know what to give you for this. Should I give you correct?
I think the fact that the audience will be screaming at you to give it to me.
No, I think because you thought you were wrong and I thought you were right, it should be an orange.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
I'll accept that as a fair compromise. Okay, so this was also from episode 1 and concluded right at the end of season 3. The cleanup crew are able to travel to any day they wish.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, because they use Eva's God particle machine, and also they use the gold ball sometimes.
That's actually, I hadn't thought that completely through, because I gave myself an orange because I'd completely forgotten that we had actually seen them using machines to travel to any day they wish. So yeah, that is. I'm glad you reminded me of that.
Well, they wouldn't have been able to travel between the worlds if they didn't have that ball. So
yeah, that is true. Okay. Also from episode 1, concluded in episode 6, the cleanup crew will cause the accident in 1987 at the nuclear plant.
That is a good one. I can't even remember the moment you said that, but you are right.
I don't remember it being particularly pronounced, because I think someone in the comments in one of our later episodes asked a question about whether I thought that, but it's in there. Yeah, so help me God, it's in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
Okay, I'm not sure about this one. We'll probably have a brief discussion about this. So this was concluded right at the end of season 3, proposed in episode 1 as well. Alt Marta is another character who believes she can fix things so long as she preserves her own past, similar to Stranger and Noah, but will ultimately fail.
Did you give yourself orange for this?
I actually gave myself green for this, but I think an orange is probably fairer.
I ask that because Alt Marta. This is going to be I'm metagaming the show now. She must believe she can fix things is the thing I'm getting here. Because in her mind, fix things
is getting them to perpetuate.
Yes. But so in that case it would be correct. Right? But actually, no, she's not actually. It didn't. That way, it wouldn't be correct, 'cause she didn't fail. In one timeline, the sort of cycle did perpetuate.
Yeah.
However, if we view...
I think so the thing I'll tell you the reason, my reasoning for giving this correct is that at this point in the show, I didn't know about Eva or her plan, or like the sort of corruption of Alt Marta, if you like, to become Eva. So Alt Marta seemed like a character who at this point was also working to try and end the time loop in the same way that Stranger is, and that is the thing that she will fail at doing. So that was my reasoning for giving myself green, but I'm open to discussion on what that should be.
Okay, so in what you've just said, in my opinion, you're wrong. In terms of like that theory would be wrong because you mispredicted what her goal was, and I think that's tied up in this. Having said that, the way it's worded, right? She believes she can fix things. Now, I don't like the terminology "fix things." Let's say she believes she can change things.
Okay. Yeah,
she must believe she can change things. Otherwise, why would she be trying so hard to preserve everything?
Yeah, that is true.
So she thinks if she didn't do anything, things would change. So therefore, she must believe that if she didn't, like if she decided to stop, then things would change. She must believe it. Now, this is really metagaming the show. So I'm going to give you green for it, just because I've convinced myself. That she must believe that she can change things if she wants. But she just wants to preserve it.
I mean, not to like change what I've just said, but I think that in all honesty, the spirit of this was that there are a lot of characters in this show. It was more a character assessment of her. It was like there are a lot of characters in this show who have that absolute faith in themselves to do the right thing, so long as they are the ones who are doing stuff. And I think Marta, I think I am correct in saying Marta or Alt Marta is another one of those characters who operates in that way.
Yeah, and I think I'm willing to give it to you for that. It's another one. It's another. You nearly shot yourself in the foot with that. With how much you wrote an essay for that one, but
yeah, that was a long one. But I mean, I'll take it. I will take it. This is a heartbreaker. This one. Episode 1 concluded in season 3. Episode 5. Alternate Hannah. This was actually superseded kind of by another theory, but I left it in here because because it was it's funny. Alternate Hannah gives birth to Peter Doppler.
If only.
Oh, Peter. How little we knew ye.
Yeah, how little we know you now.
Yeah. The ultimate red herring, Peter Doppler.
I'd like this. So some people were annoyed that they didn't actually learn more about Peter Doppler's past. In my opinion, the show wouldn't have been as good if it didn't have so many red herrings. So
yeah, you can't have everything be important.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay, but it's clearly wrong.
Yep, -1 for that. Okay, still in episode 1. There's a few of these, so I will try and go quickly. This was concluded right at the end of season 3. Someone will go back and beat Helga's iron.
You didn't want to commit it to being Ulrich because Mikkel didn't get taken, so therefore you didn't want to commit that. But you are correct though.
Yeah, and to be honest, that was one of those ones where I wasn't going to put it down because I was like, oh well, that's obviously a mirror of what happened, and you encouraged me to do it, and bless you for that, because all these points might end up mattering.
You have to have the obvious ones because you're also putting down stupid stuff like someone will cast a spell. Like you put someone cast a spell down knowing it's wrong. Like, let's be honest.
That's true. That is true. I've worn my heart on my sleeve with this. I've put some theories in that I know in my heart of hearts are wrong, but I put them in there.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to give you the obvious ones too.
Yeah. Now, I'm quite proud of this one, to be honest. This was from episode 1, and it was actually concluded in the next episode. The Jonas that Alt Marta first met is not the stranger.
Yeah, that was a good one. I liked it when you said that too. Yeah, that's correct. You're getting a lot here.
Yeah, there's a good stretch here. Okay, also from episode 1. This was concluded right at the end. I probably could have concluded this sooner, to be honest, but I left it just to make sure there wasn't some big reveal that rebuked it. The trio are all the same person.
Yeah, actually, because technically, we didn't know this until whenever it's shown, like, Eva and, like, sort of young Eva Marta, we'll call her.
It's the hug, basically.
Yeah, it's the hug. Is the first time it's confirmed. The origin reveal at the end of episode 4 is not confirmation of that, listeners, if you're thinking that, because only the middle one is shown to be the origin at that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's heavily implied, which
is
why I was thinking, you can probably say they're all the same person.
It's the same to me. It's the same as the Bartos one. Actually, no, this is probably even more obvious in the Bartos one. Like, they want you to know. They've all got the cleft palate and everything, so they want you to know. But, it's worth getting a point for it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it. A tap-in still counts, ladies and gentlemen.
They go at Man United for scoring too many penalties. Every goal counts.
Yeah, someone's got to score them.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the end of the episode 1 predictions. So I got a few in episode 1, and they do die off a little bit as we go further in because the show starts speeding up. This was concluded in episode 4. Jonas will have a child.
I'll tell you what. That's
it's a good stretch.
That's another point.
Yeah, this is. It's like in like Happy Gilmore when he learns how to putt. And he starts climbing back up those rankings ever so slowly, and they do like the cutaways to Shooter McGavin, who's just like, he's doing what? Like that's the stage we're in at the moment. Like we're climbing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It ain't over yet, McGavin.
Yeah. Someone learned how to putt.
Yeah. The way I see it, it's only just begun, right?
Yeah. Let's see where we end up. It could all be very anticlimactic, though. Okay, so the first theory of episode 2. This was concluded in episode 4. Alt Marta will also have sex with Jonas and have a baby.
Jeez, you're doing so well.
Fucking top corner, that one. Just like absolutely hammered that one.
You are doing so well. That's correct.
Yeah. I think it does get a bit bumpier now. We'll see.
I mean, the next one, yeah. I'm trying to find a place in my mind to help you here, but
yeah. So also from episode 2, concluded at the end of the season, Peter Doppler is related to Claudia in some way. Now, I'm going to be honest here, just because you've already said that. I did give myself orange for this because it's kind of correct, even if it is kind of correct, but it's by like 2 marriages, so it's technically not wrong, but it's also definitely not right.
Yeah, so it's obviously because Claudia is... Okay, so Bernd Doppler is actually his stepfather.
Yes.
Right? Because his father is the Russian guy or whatever, wherever he's from. So Bernd Doppler's his stepfather. Then Bernd Doppler's baby mama is Claudia.
Yes. Who gives birth to Bartos, who gives birth to Noah. Or he doesn't give birth to Noah, but like
I don't think that matters that way. I think they're already related.
Because of the Burnt.
Because Claudia and Burnt.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking Origin World, where Claudia and Burnt are presumably married. Like, there's no reason why we can't talk about the Origin World. Peter Doppler here,
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it is orange, and I think we could go the whole way down, like the list down to the Noah, down to the marriage to Charlotte. Definitely, we could go that way. But I think it's even easier if we just use Origin, Burnt, and Claudia.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I mean, I haven't seen their marriage certificate. But we'll just,
Maybe Regina was conceived in sin. We'll never know. That's a joke, by the way. I don't care about that stuff.
It does. Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, every time we say that, it gets. Let me tell you, if you cheat on your partner, or if you are raped, both of those things are sins. Okay, not you being raped, but the rape. You know what I mean. Both of those things are sins. Yes. So whether or not the character said it, the sin is there. So Noah didn't say it. We're saying it. That's law by us.
Okay, now this next one, we'll see what we think about this one. So this was also from episode 2 and was concluded in episode 3. The CUC are from another world.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The reason I did give myself green for this.
Oh, I know why. Because you actually meant a third world at that point.
No, I meant that it was because it was the union between 2 worlds. So you've got Prime Jonas and Alt Marta. Whether they would technically be from another world or whether they would kind of sit in a middle ground that doesn't really count as another world. But I did give myself green for this because at this point I was like, yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah, let's go from the idea of where you're from in like our world. Like you're from the place you're born. So.
Yeah,
and unless Alt Marta went to the Prime World and gave birth to him there.
Popped over to the Prime World for a holiday.
Exactly. We'll say you're correct. I think you're correct.
Okay, lovely. This one is a heartbreaker. And I stand by this. To the day I die, I will stand by this theory. at this episode 2, concluding episode 8, I was riding this all the way to the end. The young boy in the CUC was the leftmost corpse in the photographs at the like military camp outside the nuclear plant, and died in his world. So I actually thought there might be 2 CUCs, but the one from the Prime world died during that accident in 2020.
It's interesting this, because you've said this so much, and I've literally, with the intent, went to the episode and scanned through, and I cannot find the photo you're talking about. Like,
I will find it and say, because he literally has a cleft palate. The corpse has a cleft palate, and It's like a boy of exactly the same age. So it's either just like a weird Easter egg that they chucked in there, or it's just a boy who looks, maybe it's a scar, I don't know, but he definitely has a thing on his mouth, and he's presented very clearly in the frame. So I was like, there's got to be something to this.
Unless Gary was, like, the trio of Garys were doing something in the apocalypse at that time, someone comes along, splits the timeline, and just takes him and kills him. I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
Could be, who knows? But it's all, it is possible in this world.
I'll give myself the -1.
Yeah.
I'll move on. This is talking about heartbreakers. This one stings. Stings.
I 100% know this stings, because I think probably at the end of episode 7, you went and gave yourself a green on this.
I had this one in the back pocket. This was like, whatever else happens, I've got Regina. Like, it's so obviously confirmed that Regina is Stronta's child in episode 2, which is where I actually proposed this. That I was fully confident of it, and yet when we get to episode 8, they just blow it out of the goddamn water.
It's, you know why? It's because, like, in my mind, that was the biggest amount of time they put into a red herring in the show, and it's because it's funny that you came up with the complete ending of the show on your own, because I think even if you were able to do that, they were trying to shield how Claudia would have started to figure it out herself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that is actually really smart. Like, that's how I think you should do a red herring, is you all but confirm something, and then you pull back and reveal that not only was that a red herring, it's not just a red herring so you can say, you're stupid, you thought this thing. It's a red herring so you can say, and actually this confirms how the origin of this character's work to fix things.
Yeah, exactly. And because no one else knew except for her. Even Eva, who apparently knew everything to perpetuate the cycle, on her floor, she had it wrong. So it's cool.
Yeah, no, so it was it's really smart, and I take my hat off to them for that. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, on to this next one then. This is also from episode 2, concluding episode 8. Tronta was forced not to pursue a relationship with Claudia, and instead with Yana by a traveller.
Orange?
Yeah, I gave myself orange.
Because
in my heart of hearts, I think this is true, but there's nothing confirming it either way. Because they're so clearly in love with each other. That's why I would never give myself green for this, because it's not confirmed. But if you asked me what my theory is regarding Tronta and Claudia's relationship, I think at some point either an older Claudia or someone else visited Tronta and was like, you can't be with her.
Oh no, you go completely down the wrong line. I thought then. I think I don't agree with what you just said, but that's fine. That's fine. We can disagree on that. That's fair enough. I think you're not unfounded in that claim, but I think you could. My idea of tipping towards correct for you was actually the fact that Gary came and gave him the serpent, the Ouroboros bracelet.
Yeah, that's true.
That then he went and gave to Yana the same day, and that started a relationship with Yana, which eventually led him to being with Yana. Obviously,
that's true. Actually,
obviously, Claudia, she's her own woman and she's very career driven, so she could have decided not to pursue that relationship herself. We've talked about that before. But the fact that the reason I'm giving you orange and not red for this is because of the bracelet that contributed to his relationship with Yana, given to him from Gary.
Yeah, I mean that does make sense as well, to be honest, and that's probably a more well-founded argument for it. Whereas mine is just like they're young kids in love. Like, young love doesn't just wither and die on the vine like that. There has to be a reason for it.
Well, have you seen Burnt? Have you seen Burnt? That's the reason for it.
I freaking have seen Burnt. All right, here we go. This one, this was a pull. This one. And I have to be honest, it wasn't just something I came up with off of the top of my head. I did notice in the intro sequence that someone wearing a brown coat, which looked very much like Katarina's, was pictured being dragged along the floor.
Yeah.
So I was helped. But yeah, from episode 2 concluded in episode 5, Katerina is the lady in the lake.
Well done. Well done. I mean,
so I had a bit of help.
It's
from the
pretty sick that 33 years later, her son and daughter are both there swimming above where her corpse would be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very grim. Katerina's entire storyline is fantastic. It's I said at the end of season 2, I believe, that when she's going off into the caves to do whatever it is at that point, we don't know what she's going to do. It feels like she's going to do something important, and as it turns out, it's not actually that important to the kind of broader time travel stuff, but it's very important from a kind of emotional and tonal perspective, because it's one of the darkest things the show ever depicts. I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, so as well as the Elizabeth and Peter Doppler death scene. Yeah.
That entire episode 5, is probably the grimmest episode. I think it's just a lot of bad stuff happens in that episode.
Yeah, that's true.
But okay, here we go. So it's still in episode 2 for the time being. This was concluded in episode 4. The knot at the center of the diagram on the Sic Mundus floor, and that's actually the Eric Lux floor, but I don't think I knew it at that point.
Yeah.
Is a person.
This is another one which is just like a layup, obvious, because it literally is a family tree.
It's a family tree
with names on it. Yeah, it's gotta be. But but well done.
It's a person called Ian Finity. It's like it's an Irishman, Ian O'Finity. Yeah. This was his name. Okay, so still in episode 2. This was concluded in episode 5. I was confident in this, and then the show just was like, slapped me across the face and was like, not as smart as you think you are you? Magnus will be killed in the same manner as Marta in the Alt World, but in the Sic Mundus Lodge, so actually in the Eric Lux Lodge. But, yeah.
Yeah, and that's because you saw in the vision at the beginning of the season,
see her stemming,
someone getting shot. And that was obviously concluded because it turned out Jonas was the one who...
Yeah. I was right about someone dying and right about where it would happen, but it weren't Magnus.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so that's a -1.
Damn it. Okay, so oh, hold on, I've got a cat under me. Let me just move him because I don't want him to get out of there. You bugger. Sorry about that. He's going to turn up on the stream. I just don't want him to like knock a cable out. I'll leave him there for the time being. It'll be good.
I know how much the internet loves cats, so I'm probably going to just leave that in.
That's fine. Leave it in. I haven't abused him on screen, so it's fine.
I would lift Konrad. Konrad, you've never abused him.
No, not. I couldn't possibly. He's too adorable.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, right. So we're still in episode 2, and this is concluded right at the end of the season. Claudia instructed Tronta to kill Regina so that her younger self was free to pursue goals that related to fixing the time knot.
True.
Yep.
And that was another back of the net one. You were actually you were playing that one. You were gambling there because you put so much extra detail into that theory.
Yeah.
It could have stopped after 3 words. Claudia instructed.
Yeah. Listen, I do not subscribe to the notion that brevity is the soul of wit. All right, I like to be very verbose. Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we know that. Right. Okay.
Next one. So a couple more from episode 2. This one was concluded in episode 4. The St. Christopher metaphor refers to a pregnancy that carried the one who would create the world.
He carried the one who would create the world.
Yeah, so St. Christopher rejected Satan, carried the one who will create the world, and I can't remember the rest of the.
So are you implying there that St. Christopher would be Eva or Marta?
No, Marta. Yeah. So St. Christopher is the martyr in this situation. Is martyr in this situation, and the one who will create the world is the cleanup crew, because they go off and ensure the loop happens by causing the nuclear plant to be built and then the accident in 87.
I'm really interested to see what you gave yourself for this. I'm assuming you gave yourself this as green.
I did give myself green for this one.
That's a really strange thing, because it's just like this prediction is my analysis is good.
Yeah, I mean, you're always getting into sort of a sticky situation when you're calling your interpretation of metaphors correctly, because it's sort of like by its very nature there is room to there's room for interpretation there.
Yeah, and in that regard, like as soon as you said it, my mind went to Gary turning the keys. So I probably will say you can have a green for that. I'll reward you for your nice analysis there.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, so last one from episode 2. And this was concluded right at the end of the season. Alt Marta saved Tronta by bringing him to 2053.
Oh, that must be wrong.
Yeah.
Because we saw Claudia with him, so therefore it was Claudia who did it.
It was obviously Claudia as well. I was really mad at myself for getting that wrong in retrospect, because why would it be Alt Marta?
Yeah, why would it be Alt Marta whenever you already predicted that Claudia had sent Tronta?
Yeah, I think I don't know why I made that theory. Like I just wasn't thinking like about it enough, I think. But and likewise. Oh, in fact, actually, yeah, we're into episode 3 now, so we're almost halfway through season 3, folks, and we're only an hour and a half into this video. So
yeah.
If you don't like the sound of me talking lots, I apologize profusely, because there's going to be lots more of it. So episode 3, Marta is Gustav Tannhaus's mother.
I thought when you said this, I had to stop myself from laughing out loud. Like this, I love this idea that all of a sudden we were going to have a spotlight on like the 1810s, and
I wish,
you know,
I bloody wish. Like,
and all of a sudden Marta was going to go back and fall in love with one of the Tannhauses.
I mean, that was another red herring as well, though. To be honest, like that mention of his mother loving that Ariadne play is obviously, that's designed to draw your eye.
Oh yeah, without
Marta, but
I think without a doubt. But at the same time, it is also sort of now that we know like the origin world and how it's things in the Prime and Alter echoed. Yeah. It makes sense that the Ariadne plays throughout the history of our worlds.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what Stranger Marta got up to when she was back there.
It's true.
Maybe she fell in love with I can't remember Gustav's father's name now. Is it? It's
Heinrich.
Heinrich. Yeah. We'll never know. But no, I gave myself wrong for that.
Yeah, it's wrong.
There's not enough evidence for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is also from episode 3, concluded right at the end, episode 8. Whatever Dark has in store for Jonas at the season finale will also befall Marta. I don't know why I wrote and vice versa here. That's another example of me, of me sort of using more words than I actually need to.
Yeah, exactly. Because you've already literally what you said was it'll happen to both. Okay, so that's gotta be correct.
Yeah, I gave myself green for that. I think that was the beginning of my not Bonnie and Clyde, Thelma and Louise theory for Jonas and Marta. That they were however they were going there together.
Which it's really ironic that your Thelma and Louise theory, because if you think about Thelma and Louise, they actually, in the end, spoilers for Thelma and Louise, went off the edge of a bridge or a cliff, I suppose, in a car, whereas Jonas and Marta ended their life by saving a car from going off a bridge.
Oh, maybe Jon Fries and Baron Bode are big Ridley Scott fans. Actually, they probably are big Ridley Scott fans and therefore love Thelma and Louise.
Yep, exactly.
Cool. Okay, so last one for episode 3. So as I say, there aren't that many for each of the episodes in season 3, just because things are being confirmed more than they're being posited.
Yeah.
Alt Mundus, so Eric Lux, will give the Ariadne book to Marta, the watch to Noah, and the ledger to Alt Alexander to cause the disaster in their world.
So much information in this theory, Konrad.
Yeah. I'll save you some time. Like I just said, this was wrong because I don't think any of those things happened.
Yeah, it's wrong. The watch did eventually get to Noah, but that was through giving it to the stranger first.
Yeah, they eventually came into the possession of these people, but not directly.
Don't think Alt Alexander never had the ledger.
No, that is true. Yeah, they just used it to fuck up the power plant in the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, on to episode 4, and there's a few for episode 4. So this was actually one of the few that was proposed and concluded in the same episode that I proposed. I tried not to do this as much as possible because it seems dishonest, but for this one, it happened about an hour apart, so I was like, I'll give myself this one.
Okay.
The CUC are Tronta's father.
Yes. So that was a good one.
Yep.
It's good that you got there. I think it was kind of spoon fed to you. Like it was,
because
at the start of that episode when you proposed it, it's literally, didn't he literally say, I was there when you were named Tronta or something like that?
Yeah.
So
I will just say for that though, you are absolutely correct. I was of the opinion that this was slightly less spoon-fed to us than Tronta being Regina's father, and that turned out to be fucking wrong. So
yeah. No, I'm willing to. I'm not arguing the point, but I'm just saying like it was.
That was a gimme. That was very much a gimme.
Yeah.
Okay. This one was a theory that I wrote down as one thing and then changed it slightly on reflection because I was like, hold on, I know what show I'm watching here, and that is this was proposed in episode 4, concluded in episode 6. The scarred face girl in 2053 is related to Agnes.
Because I
believe I originally had this as is her daughter, and then I thought, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Right, let's think about this for 1 second. We've been burned this way before, haven't we?
That's true. This is a 1. You got a point for this. So well done for that. I think that hug, you could not say it. You know, that was very, again, spoon-fed, I would say, if you're paying attention.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, this was concluded in episode 7. Hannah will end up in 1888.
Oh, this is a hard one. Because it depends what you mean by 1888. If you mean the year 1888, no. If you mean the timeline of that storyline, the answer is yes.
Yeah, so I actually gave myself wrong for this, but on reflection, I'm like, oh, maybe it should be orange because what I actually meant by it was she's going to see the stranger and the gang in whatever timeline they're in, and it just so happens she turns up 20 years.
Yeah, you can't be punished for Okay, so in maths, I'm a math teacher, right? So when you do a maths exam, if you get a question wrong, and then you move on to the next part of the question, and then you do the correct thing with your wrong answer from the first part, you get what are called follow-on marks. So I think I'm going to give you some follow-on marks here, because you assumed at this point that we weren't going to have the Between the Times episode.
Yeah, I didn't see them going buck wild with the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to give you... even orange seems unfair to me. As speaking as a maths teacher, I think that you correctly predicted something based on the information you had at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to give you an orange though, because if we use that logic, maybe that'll change a load of theories within this matrix.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I think an orange is fair there because spiritually I was correct, if not literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so last few of episode 4, keep saying season, and this was concluded right at the end. Alt Marta aborting the CUC, I don't like the use of the word aborting there, is going to be the ticking clock of season 3. By which I meant that Adam trying to like get his hands on the CUC and kill them like before they're born is going to be the thing that's like driving a lot of the action of the season.
I don't know if that's what you meant, Konrad.
I think it was. Because I don't think she wanted to abort them. I don't think I ever thought that
I think at that point you didn't know that she even wanted to preserve the timeline yet, and I thought that
that's true.
You thought that she was going to try and abort the baby in order to end everything, because you thought that she still wanted to destroy everything like Adam did. I don't think Adam was involved in the abortion part at all.
I can't actually remember where we were at that point, to be honest. So yeah, maybe I was just thinking of Marta.
Yeah, I think you were, and I think based on that, you're looking back at this as a theory that it wasn't. But you've probably given yourself green then, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I think that's a fair deconstruction of that, though. So I mean, if you think it's wrong, we can go for wrong on that.
If it said Adam aborting the CEC.
Yeah, the word aborting is like, I don't know why I specifically mentioned the method of the CEC being gotten rid of.
This is a hard one for me. This is one where I think people could be in the comments with me. The fact that you're referencing at the time, I remember it was posited in the vein of Alt Marta wanting to end the cycle. Yes. I remember that distinctly. So I'm going to give you an orange for it.
Okay, I'll take an orange. I think that's probably fair enough given the deconstruction.
It makes sense that you gave it a green because, like, knowing what's happened now, you look back and think, oh yeah, that did happen. but you're misremembering the context.
Yeah, I think that's entirely possible. Okay, so this one I was quite proud of. So proposed in episode 4, concluded in episode 7. Old Claudia is turning back up in the 2050s.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good prediction. You didn't get that till the very end of episode 7.
I don't want to shoot myself in the foot here, but this is not entirely in the spirit in which it happened, because I was predicting that Claudia, as we like the sort of not pre-split Claudia, but the Claudia we've seen kind of age in the from 2020 onwards, was the one who was going to be turning up in 2050. Although actually no, I guess that is the one who turns up in 2050 to speak to Adam. Thinking about it, I'm just trying to place that moment in her timeline. I
will just say as well, the idea of her splitting herself, there's been a lot of talk in the comments about that, and I'm going to do a lot of thinking about that. So in order to keep both sides happy, people who think she split, people think she don't, we can all agree that she did go into a different timeline. So from now on, instead of saying split, until I have a proper way to put it in my mind, and like that I know I'm sort of on the right track, I'm going to say, because she said I sent myself on a different path, so it implies splitting. It implies splitting very heavily to me, because the idea would be that she's deviating from the path she's been on before, if you know what I mean, even though that doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to start saying she went to a different timeline. That could imply splitting, or it could not, just to keep everyone happy.
Okay, I think that's fair enough. I'll give myself 1 for that for the time being.
Okay, I'm sure there's a few listeners who are very happy with me saying that, by the way.
Now, okay. I think I'll be interested to see like what you come up with that, because as I say, you're far better about those kind of that like deep dive analysis.
Well, I mean, there's actually some great analysis been done, and like people who are of the opinion that, you know, whenever those timeline splits happen, not everyone in the little interaction has to actually split themselves. Which I understand the thinking of that. But in my mind, if you split a timeline, there's going to be 2 of the person. But then the question remains, can you just travel to a timeline that's already been split? Potentially. So we'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, I actually think this is a duplicate, so I don't think I should give myself any points for this. But the Jonas and Martha are going out like Thelma and Louise theory is also here. So I think I might just give myself 0 for this, because I feel like that and... Where is the theory?
Just a little bit above.
I can't see it.
Well, if you can't see it,
yeah, I can't see it here. It's around, but it's basically like I had a theory that
we talked about this like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, so I think I'm just giving myself a 0 for this, because
no, hang on. No.
What happens to Jonas is happening to Marta?
That's not the same theory, Konrad. You need to be more kind to yourself. This, like, literally, the end of the show could have been that they both got an ice cream. It happened to them both. Doesn't mean they went out like Thelma and Louise. You're now...
that is true, yeah.
Yeah, like the other one said, both of them are going to have the same fate. This one says what that fate's going to be. So that's a different theory.
I guess that is true. Okay, fair enough. I'll give myself the points for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to need them.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, so last one for episode 4, and... this is a pretty good one, I think. So this will conclude in episode 7. Old Marta will have her own inflection point. Yep, bosh.
Very good.
Take that one out of the net, you bastards.
Okay. I'm getting a glimpse at these scores here, and I don't know whether to be happy or sad about this.
Well, we'll see. It's going to be close.
Yeah.
It is going to be close. So the first of episode 5. The 2 women who brought Charlotte to Tannhaus are Ellie and Charlotte.
That's correct. But I'm sort of hesitating. That is correct. Give yourself a point for that. But I'm hesitating on that a little bit, because didn't you also mention something about like Ellie and Charlotte beating up someone or killing someone as well?
Yeah. So I had this here. So we'll get to it. Come back to that in one theory's time. So the next one is Alt Marta. This was also from episode 5 and concluded in episode 7. Alt Marta got that scar on her face from her older self.
Well done.
It had to be, really.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be anyone else.
The amount of this series 3 for you. You stopped all the crazy theories.
Yeah, I was like, let's get down to business. All right, okay, it's time to get serious about this. I can't embarrass myself on the internet.
Can you imagine how good you would have actually done in this theory matrix if you didn't put like the spells and the Philosopher's Stone?
I'm like an Adele Tarapt, or like I'm a naturally gifted player, but I don't have the work ethic to do it for 3 seasons of television. You know, I can do it. I'll produce magic every once in a while, but okay. So this is the one that you were just referencing, which I ended up invalidating because once we got to the third world stuff. So my initial theory
that just means it's wrong.
Well, but I superseded it before it was actually confirmed. Either way, that's why I gave myself just a nothing.
Yeah, okay. I bet there is precedent for that. We've done that before, where you've decided to eliminate. Well, then why didn't you go back and take away the Philosopher's Stone one?
What do you mean?
Isn't the idea? Oh, so
well, the Philosopher's Stone one was never superseded by anything. It was just wrong. Like, so the Philosopher's Stone was an idea, whereas unlike with this one, I initially just to let the listeners know what it was. I've got Adam orchestrated the killing of the Tannhouse's family in the car crash, which is what H.G. Tannhouse mentions in that same speech where he says 2 women brought you to me. He says my family were killed in a car crash. At that point, I was like, okay, maybe Adam had something to do with that. But once we started getting into the third world stuff, I was like, no. That Adam isn't going to have anything to do with this. This is going to be something else. So I just invalidated the theory.
Okay, so I think no matter what I think, whether of the legitimacy of that move to invalidate the theory, your honesty has to be commended here, because you could have just deleted it. You could have just deleted the theory.
Yeah, I could. No, there have been no rows ever deleted from this spreadsheet, and like never shall there be. I couldn't live with myself.
Yeah, so because you didn't do that, we'll put it at 0. Like, you could have just deleted it and we never talk about it. Like, but give it a 0.
I want full honesty and disclosure. We're a transparency first podcast here. Okay, so I'm interested to see what you have to say about this one. So episode 5 concluded in episode 6. Killing Jonas won't kill Adam.
Well, that's correct, because you actually made that prediction after Jonas, sort of the Jonas B, so to speak, was killed.
Oh, Jonas A. He's the main Jonas, as far as I'm concerned. The other Jonas is
Jonas. He turned into Adam. Yeah, actually, so he's the worst one. But please don't comment about that. Anyway, so basically, this is correct though, because killing him didn't kill Adam.
Yeah, I think I said at the time, I'd be very surprised if Jonas gets shot and then the next episode begins with like Adam looking at his hand as he fades away and can't play Johnny B. Good on the guitar anymore. Like, it just would have felt like a really weird way for Adam's character to leave the show. Okay. This was also episode 5, concluding episode 6. There was quite a few of these kind of ones. Alt Claudia isn't being truthful in her dialogue with Prime Claudia.
What is the meaning of truth?
It's a fair point. It's it is subjective.
Do you not think that she believed that Eva was telling the truth to her? So therefore,
I think Claudia probably knows that she's perpetuating the loop.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, Claudia, that is like I think Claudia
because for her keeping her, we've talked about before that she had a happy life. Egon's still alive. She's probably Regina. She probably had a happy life with her. So I'd imagine, I'd imagine that she wants to keep the cycle going. So that's true. Okay,
right. We're getting into it now. We're getting into it. Episode 6. This was concluded in the next episode. Alt Hannah will give birth to Celia.
Yep.
I was banging out some good ones.
I mean, technically, you've shown to be a bit of a fool. To quote a few people in the comments, a bit of a small brain here.
Yeah, this is a small brain moment from me, no doubt about that.
Because it should have just said Hannah will give birth to Celia, because Alt Hannah would give birth to Alt Celia.
Yeah, I simply don't understand this alt timeline business. Everything is happening in the same timeline as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Well, you still get it though. Correct.
Yeah. Correct. Nice. Okay, next one, also from episode 6, concluding episode 7. Alt Bartos will attempt to save Alt Marta from Adam's captivity.
Yeah. I was so annoyed that you made this prediction, because you were so close.
Yeah.
Like, to predict, you were so close to actually predicting.
It makes so much more sense as well. Like, why would he go into the lion's den to save Marta when she's already been captured? When he could just get her before any of that ever happens and cause the inflection point.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is wrong.
Yeah, that was a hard one that was a bitter pill to swallow, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on to the next one from episode 6, concluding episode 7, as most of these were, to be honest. Old Bartos will get with Celia.
Yeah, see, this one again, like, if I'm really harsh on you here, Konrad, I could say no, because...
Well, because I put alt.
Because old Bartos didn't get with Celia. Old Bartos got with old Celia. You know?
I've just omitted typing the word alt twice there because I'm lazy.
I mean, I've got to give it to you. We've got to give it to you.
There would be riots in the streets if you took those points away from me. The people would not stand for it. The name of this podcast would be mud after that. Okay, and then the final kind of theory of that trilogy of theories, if you like. This was also included in episode 7. Celia and Bartos will give birth to Agnes and Noah, which I will admit, I'm gonna hold my hand up right now and say, you did help me arrive at that conclusion. I got to Agnes.
Yes, I did. I didn't help you. I reminded you that Agnes and Noah were brother and sister.
Yeah, I got to Agnes on my own, and then
even if your prediction was only Agnes, you still would have got the points for it. But yeah, I think what annoyed some of the listeners, which is completely understandable, is that I took away the realization while you were watching the episode that Noah was the child. I think no one would argue that I gave you a theory. It's just that I took away some of your enjoyment of the show. I was still pumping the air and looking at my partner. Yeah, that's what people don't realize, is that Konrad will enjoy a show more if he's right rather than being. Yeah, it's all about being right.
I'm very, very much an arrogant man who wants to be correct in all things. That's my prime source of enjoyment for any television
prime
show
directive.
But yeah,
I will say I didn't say you're getting a green for that.
Oh, come on.
Because the thing is, technically, Celia and Bartos, Bartos didn't give birth to anyone.
That's true. He sired them.
So the way you've worded that doesn't make much sense to me. And again, also, Noah wasn't given birth to, because Noah was originally called Hanno. It was Adam who gave him the name Noah. So
it's true.
I don't know.
Again, it's going to be... You are going to burn this podcast to the ground on these objections that you're raising at this late stage in the game.
I'm just looking at the total, and I'm just trying. I
don't know what
it
is yet, we'll see, because let's do this next one.
Okay, it's right. Okay, we'll give it to you.
Okay, so this was the last one from episode 6, concluding episode 8. Stranger Marta will have a baby in 1888 or earlier. I doubled down on this theory.
Get rid of it.
Harsh. It's harsh, but I can't argue with it. And
then, it's harsh.
And then the big one. I try not to reveal the score because I don't want to see it.
You could have split this up. You could have split this up into a couple of theories and got more points.
In 5 minutes' time, I may regret not splitting this into multiple theories. So, proposed in episode 7, concluded in episode 8. There is a third world that caused the initial split, where H.G. Tannhouse's machine was built and powered on, and where he is originally from. His machine is the origin.
Correct.
Okay.
We have to give you that. Come on. Such a good prediction.
Okay. Right. This is a big moment now. I haven't looked at the score. I don't know what it is. Just to remind everyone. So we have ended season 1 on a solid -16. We ended season 2 on 6. So -10. We have ended season 3. Oh shit. On 18. Which gives me a +8 at the end.
Yeah. Well done, Konrad. Well done.
Season 3 went better than I thought it did, actually, to be honest.
Guys, can you imagine? Now, listen. Konrad predicted 8 more things correct than being completely even. He did really well. I'm very, very impressed. And you can imagine how much more he would have got if he didn't have all those silly predictions. So
the sword fight, but think of all the fun we would have missed out on.
Yeah, so we have to give it to him.
And now I can relax. Now, this is like England winning the World Cup in '66. And now I've done it once. I can relax. I'm just gonna have a bunch of stupid theories in the OA that I'm not worried about proving myself anymore because I've already done it.
Yeah. You did it with Dark. You never have to get a positive score again.
Yeah.
I am going to be very interested to see how you get on with the OA. To be honest with you.
imagine if I've peaked early in my career and now it's just downhill from here.
You predicted everything correct in Dark, and then every other show, which is like objectively easier to predict. you have no idea what's going on.
I'm overthinking everything. Like, where are the cycles in this show? I don't understand. I'm as surprised by that as anyone, to be honest. But it has been a tremendous experience having, like, I've tried not to read the comments, and I don't think I've had anything spoiled for me. But I think people have been very good about like asking me questions that get me thinking about certain things or thinking in certain ways that have helped guide me towards correct answers, I think.
Yeah, I think for Konrad, like 100%, there were certain things that I know. And I'm sure he doesn't even know himself, but there's certain things that I know would have played a part in how his mind was working. For example, if he sees a video go up on my channel where HG Townhouse is the thumbnail, and I say dark theory, he's going to be thinking, what? HG Townhouse? What's, I don't, knowing Konrad, he's not going to pay much attention to it, but it kind of would be there. And I think maybe me using Claudia on so many thumbnails on my videos meant that he knew she was going to be important in some way.
Yeah, like Claudia was definitely the one where like I saw her in enough material. Like I didn't really watch any trailer, or I didn't watch any trailers, but just by virtue of doing this podcast, I started having dark stuff popping up on my YouTube feed, and Claudia featured. Like I'd never read the titles or anything, but I saw Claudia in enough of the thumbnails where I was kind of like, all right, I'm kind of getting the gist from this that she's probably important to this show.
Yeah.
Which definitely, I'd like to give full disclosure, that did like help like guide me towards her potentially being one that like was one to watch.
Yeah, and there was no like, I don't think unless you literally have never heard of Dark before, you put it on Netflix and then watch it the whole way through without ever looking anywhere else, which some people probably do. That's the only way to go less spoiler than Konrad. And let's even be honest, the thumbnails that they choose on Netflix for the show, I'm sure that Konrad saw something that he even couldn't comprehend before it happened. Like something to do with a radiation suit at the plant. You know how they have those different thumbnails?
Well, I mean, the one on Netflix has Adam with his popped collar facing in another direction, and for most of season 1, I was like, who the hell's that?
Yeah. So you couldn't actually see who it was, but you could see that there was going to be some guy with a cool coat on at some point. Yeah. So it is a very strange thing. But guys, this has been such a fun journey. Again, as I say, just to remind you, we are going to be on Dark Discussions every few weeks together. I'm on Dark Discussions every week. So come over there, and there'll be plenty more chat about Dark. We are planning at the minute to bring Emmett into the After Dark podcast for 3 special episodes between the OA and our next show, which will be us going through season by season. He's never seen it before, and he'll be going through season 1. We'll hear his predictions. Season 2, season 3. I don't think, I think Emmett will do better than me in terms of predicting the show. I don't think he's going to touch Konrad in it. We'll wait and see.
We'll see. I'll happily relinquish the crown to anyone who wants it. This is
maybe I'll nudge Emmett in the ribs and say, here, cheat, because it's the only chance you've got.
I mean, I will, watching it the way we've watched it, I think, or the way I've watched it has actually helped quite a lot as well, because it gives you a lot of time to think about stuff, which obviously I don't think he'll get, because he's probably going to watch it all in 1 or 2 sittings.
Yeah, when we talk to him, it'll be very much big picture stuff. It won't be little nitty gritty. I don't think he'll get the Elizabeth and Charlotte one.
No, but I also don't think he'll be fooled by Tronson not being Regina's father. So we'll see. I tell you what we should do, actually. Maybe I shouldn't say this on air because it's going to bind us to it. But maybe we should do a sealed envelope prediction for how much stuff we think he's going to get right before we record those podcasts.
Yeah, knowing that he's going to binge it, knowing he's going to binge it. Yeah,
we'll both say how much. I don't know how we'd score it, but we could say we could say I think he's going to get 10 things right or something like that.
Or maybe we'll limit him to 5 predictions per season. Because when we do those special episodes, we're not going to spend the whole time just talking about his predictions. We'll spend a fair bit, I'm sure, but in that way it's easy to score. So we'll sort of predict how much out of 15 he's going to get.
Yeah, okay, I think that's a good idea. We'll do it at the start, and then we'll reveal them at the end.
Yeah, okay. So join us for that. Also, later on this week, guys, I think it's going to be a Wednesday. Don't hold me to that, though. Look on the YouTube channel, The Culture Cave YouTube. I'm going to be putting up a top 10 Konrad's best predictions video. which is going to be really fun to watch. I'm just looking forward. I'm gonna try and get that onto the dark subreddit as well. Yeah. Sometimes they don't like people putting their own content up there, which I kind of understand. You want it to be more of a fan community, which is what I am, which is a shame. But anyway, I'm going to put it up there because I love the idea of someone watching that video who's never listened to the podcast before and being like, "Jeez, this guy thinks he's good," and then like, you know,
I've not seen any of that video. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be a lovely vanity piece for me.
Yeah, I say top 10. It's not a top 10. It's more of a in chronological order.
Yeah.
10 predictions he got right. 10 big predictions.
I'll send it to my mum and be like, "See, mum, I told you I'm smart."
Yeah, I told you I'd amount to something, mum.
Look at all this stuff I'm predicting on the internet.
Now can I put my cheese in the fridge? Please, yeah. All right, there you go, guys. That's us for this week. I hope you enjoyed this Theory Matrix episode. We are going to be doing Theory Matrixes for our OA series as well. How well that will go, I don't know, but we'll wait and see. We'll see you next Monday for the OA, the beginning of the OA. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Konrad thinks of the show in general, because it is a different feel. We're so used to Dark now, I'm looking forward to even just having a different tone to it. Thanks very much for listening. If you're listening on audio apps, you may have noticed we changed our thumbnail on audio apps. Send us an email, adpodmail.com, at gmail.com, sorry, and let us know what you think of that new thumbnail. I personally am in love with it.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, okay, guys, thanks very much. Subscribe, audio apps, Culture Cave. See you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the After Dark podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode.